Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and to be cautious when there's greed. We are going to be taking a look at crypto, the conditions today, and let's start out by looking at the fear and greed index. And over the last year, we are in the greed level. We were in extreme greed most recently, that's 75 or higher, into the ETF approval. The ETF wicked up, and then there's been a sell off. And then we've been coming back up a little. So is this just a corrective bounce, or are we going to continue going up overall? If we look at Bitcoin on the charts, you can see from this bottom, we've just been going up and I have this trend line to reflect that. One thing I have thought about or considered is that since we've been in this uptrend from complete fear into greed, and this does not correlate with bottoms, by the way. The true bottom of crypto, it was in November when FTX went bankrupt. So there, it was kind of a leading indicator. I do wonder, we spent a year going up. Is this like the mid-cycle top in 2019 where we went 6 months up and then down sideways for a year? And I can show you that reflected here in the rainbow chart, which shows the 4-year cycle. So this was that mid-cycle top 6 months from the bottom. And then, of course, the COVID crash. We spent a year there. So we've been going up for a year. Are we going to go sideways for 6 months? Apologize for my dog. She's excited about opportunities in the crypto market. So let's go to Bitcoin. And I want to keep this video as brief as possible. So when we take a look at Bitcoin with this, this is one of my favorite buy-sell indicators. Red, obviously sell, green, buy. The 1020 MA crossover with Heikin-Ashi signals. This is on the weekly. And on the weekly, after we get a big move, usually what the first indicator is the one that ends up falling within 2 months of that indicator. Strong move up, we had a sell, and then we go down. Once we go down, at least over what seems to be about 15% or more, the next signal can show a reversal. So big move up. This one, again, we went down. I'm just going from the top of the wicker body from where we get the sell signal. So that one was only 13%. And then we went up, sell. What's this one about? So like I said, close to 15% on average, 17%. We had this big move up, and then we had this sell signal, 11, 12%. So kind of close to this move here. I do wonder, are we going to get a reversal already? We sold off pretty big. It only took 2 weeks. Usually, I would like to see more than 2 weeks. Maybe we're getting a situation like we were back here, and then we're going to shoot up again a bit. How much did this shoot up back here after we got that buy signal? We went up about 42%. Can you imagine if Bitcoin all of a sudden shot up 40 some percent from this buy signal? Where would that put us? So that would put us about at that next fib somewhere around 57, 58,000 in there. Something else I talked about in a recent video. During the halving years, also the election years, and I can show you right here, when we have the halvings, they have been during the election years, 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024. Something I notice is that each time we are in the halving year, the amount that Bitcoin price has gone up since the beginning of that year gets divided by half each time. So I showed a video on this not too long ago. 2012, from the start of the halving year, the election year, we went 250% up from the beginning of the year to the end. The next time, almost half. It was 130%. The next time, it was way more than 65%. I want to say it's even like 300%. The thing I noted, though, is that from the beginning of the year to the end, it was in the 65% range. So where's the start of 2020? It was right here. So from here to there, it was 65%, which was half the amount and in that range. The thing that made this different, though, and the reason I'm possibly considering this an anomaly, is we had 5-6 trillion in money printing, and that just ballooned all the markets. It ballooned the price of your car, houses, travel, everything. It's a big reason why we have inflation. So Just considering this, if we didn't have the money printing, if we did only have half like we typically do, maybe by the end of the year, we get up somewhere near this last fib range, the 236 to around 56, 57K. So anyways, there's that. Something I want us to look at though is that we have had this sell signal, and usually most of the time it takes a month or two to play out. And yeah, I know we have this part back here. Let me go back to the mid-cycle top here when we had that big move in 6 months. We had a little bit of a fake out after 3 weeks. It went up, but then eventually we went down. And then we went down more with COVID. Do I expect us to go down the same amount? No, not unless we get a black swan event, recession. 42% is what I would consider just to be the average without the COVID thing happening. We got to the fib, which was the 786, the lowest fib, wicked above, down beneath it a little. We're really in this range of the 618, or sorry, the 0.5 to the 786 was the best range to buy, the dollar cost average in, before we got our next mega bull run. So I do wonder about that, if that's going to be the case, if we're going to get 6 months to a year of some chop. Something also to consider, though, is each bull run, or how do I put this? Each 4-year cycle, there's less volatility. So I wouldn't be surprised if instead of a 40% drop this time, maybe it's somewhere 25 to 30%. Just because each time we have less dramatic dips and less dramatic gains overall. Now, is there a lot of money to be made? Yes. Yes, there is. There is diminishing returns, though. So $1,000 from here, look at this, Bitcoin, $11 to almost 800. Okay. That's, what would that be? 80x. And then from here, the bottom, 650 to, let's see, 6597, that's a 10x. And from here, the bottom around 6,000 to 60,000 and 10x. So each time it does seem to be overall a little bit less returns. Not that there can't be big giant returns, maybe a 5 to 10x. Either of those would be great for Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin went from 20,000, let's just say 20,000. I know it's at 17.5. 20,000 is a nice round number. Let's say it did a 5 to a 10x. We're talking 100 to 200,000. And on this Bitcoin rainbow chart, it is showing that if we honor the 4-year cycle, that by the end of 2025, we'll just pick October, that we might be in that zone. If you take a look at the third and fourth, the orange boxes from the top, we would be in that zone. And so, that's around a 7 to a 9x. That would not surprise me. So that's by this time. Could we get some chop down and then go up? Maybe. This is what it's done before. Again, we had different conditions here. And that's something to remember, is the market is never going to do the exact same thing it's done before. Conditions change, they evolve. That's why none of this financial advice, just my opinion, and we're just talking here. So if you have a different theory, I would love to hear it. If you have different thoughts, it's also why I try not to be bullish or bearish. And I'm doing air quotes that you can't see. I try not to be bullish, bearish, and just have a plan and react to the conditions that meet my plan. So to crypto, we are here. Something interesting I've seen is total market cap without the top two cryptos, Bitcoin and Ethereum. We had this big move up, and we started with a sell signal, and we had a little reverse along like doji, but then we have a sell signal again. So I am thinking here we are on this 10 MA. I am thinking we'll probably go down to the 20 MA. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Is that showing us anything? So this is on the weekly. Something I've talked about before is last time we broke under the trend line moving up with Bitcoin dominance, we had until this point right here. That's really when the mega bull run started. So when we got to this line of support, that was the last moment to be in. September of 2020. Let me show you where September of 2020 was. It was here. And it was when we broke above the 0.5, we never came back to the point 0.5. We broke above all-time highs. We got to new all-time highs. Things were gangbusters. So what I'm expecting, this is how I'm viewing Bitcoin dominance, which is different than other people have been talking about, is that this line of support, roughly around here, if we come down sharply to it like we did back here, I'm not buying it anymore. So for certain altcoins, I am looking at dollar cost averaging in, and I'm going to keep that private because I don't want to influence anyone else to do what I'm doing. Do your own research, obviously. I'm only going to be talking about coins on Coinbase and Robinhood, so take from that what you will. Yes, I know a lot of people are making money right now on the meme coins, on MEXC and Binance. Guys, that's gambling. I'm taking a look at making crypto a high risk environment as low to medium risk as possible to maximize my value. I do believe overall, should we be in another 4-year cycle like we've been before, that should we get another peak like we've done times before, that if we get somewhere up here near the end of 2025, and again, there's no guarantees we have to do this again. Okay, look, we only have how many data points? So really 3 cycles before. So yeah, who knows if we get 4 for 4 as far as this cycle stuff is going. I'm going to be ready for that possibility. However, there are no guarantees, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Anyways, back to total market cap. When I look at this, I do wonder if the altcoins, which have gone up a bit, and that can be reflected in altcoins. Sorry for all the fibs here. So you can take a look how altcoins have been strong. Ethereum, Link, they're very strong right now. Could they possibly go back down sometime soon? Maybe. I would say the total market cap is kind of reflecting that. This is on the weekly. And this is just this signal. Another signal we can put on is there's this one I like. It's usually more lagging UT bot alerts. We have not had a sell signal there yet on the weekly. And same with Bitcoin. We have not had a sell signal yet. This indicator usually waits for stronger confirmation. And so, at least for this indicator, we haven't crossed into those zones yet. It's almost done it, but not quite. So, what to expect in the short to medium term, that's going to be up to you. Something I do consider. We can take a look at the bull market support band. This is just an average that maybe we get down to here. But something to remember is this is moving up as well. So, it might not get that much lower. And if there's an altcoin you like, it might not be the worst time to buy in on that given altcoin. Things don't always move at the same pace as Bitcoin. Now, mind you, if Bitcoin goes down to this fib or has a big sell-off to this fib somewhere in there, and that's my, for me, you have to buy zone. Again, not financial advice. That's just for me personally. Then look at your alts. They may or may not be doing this a similar move. Usually alts will go down even more than Bitcoin. So something to consider there. Anything else I wanted to look at? I did want to just check some other indicators. There's the bubble risk indicator. This one I think is important. So here you can see we're at around 37, and we were at the bubble risk back there. But if you take a look, the price just went sideways until we went up. And if you take a look at the RSI, it got, this is on the weekly, it got under 50, and that was really the best time to buy. Is when it got under 50, right there. So if Bitcoin, I do expect it to get down here around the 50 levels, I would assume it'd get down here, but you really never know. Maybe it could get lower. Every time's different, but that might be a time to buy. I mean, look at the bubble risk indicator up here, 100, what is that, 115? My God, how crazy is that? This was the mid-cycle top where we wicked up to the same fib zone. And as you can see, we were at 90 and 80. And most recently, we did get to 40, 37. So could we go higher? Sure. Sure we could. Again, each Each cycle does get a little less volatile. So if we did go up a bit higher, I would not be surprised. And maybe we only come back down to here. Maybe this general plan I have of comparing the fib zones from the low to the high and where price kind of hung out the last 4 year cycle, maybe that's outdated. Doesn't mean that has to happen. Again, that's anything below the 0.5. I could even move my buy zone up here a little bit, and I'd be in that macro range. So this is me trying to be a little bit greedy. It does not mean I'm not buying any alts in here. It's just for myself, and this is part of me making a plan that if things are here, that I should be dollar cost averaging in even more, and I would be stupid not to I would be stupid to miss that opportunity. That's for me, not for you guys, not financial advice. So I think as far as crypto goes, I'm going to leave it there. What's this week going to bring? Something to note is that historically, February, it can be one of the tougher months in markets. Now, take that with a grain of salt. If most years, if you looked at a seasonal chart, you would see dips in February, probably March. There's the expression "sell May, go away." Things peak in summer, and then there's a dip before the end of Q4, like around October. So yes, these times can be bad. They don't have to be though. These can be good. You can say, well, on average, most of the time, February tends to be bad. That data can be a little skewed. Each year is different. It's kind of like when people say something's overdue because it happens on average a certain amount of times. We don't know if that average is going to be delayed or if we're going to just have 3 years of contradictory data points. So all because there is an average of something that happened doesn't mean it has to happen. Just something to consider. So guys, that's just my Bitcoin crypto video to start off this week. It'll be interesting to see what the markets do tomorrow, how they're going to open. And yeah, it's been crazy. Last week we had 5 of the Mag 7 stock earnings coming out. A lot of crazy things going in the market. It looks like they are gunning for 5,000 and a big correction's probably going to happen. I don't see how one couldn't sometime soon, but markets, they don't have to make sense. As far as earnings go, maybe I'll get more into earnings as we move forward. There are some decent earnings this week. Caterpillar, McDonald's, that's coming out Monday. Let's see, Eli Lilly, that's a big one. Toyota, what else? Alibaba. Chinese stocks have been getting eviscerated, so hey, maybe some Chinese stocks might be in a good value zone. You'd have to do your own research. I don't invest in Chinese stocks, but if you wanted to, do your research. There might be some good long-term value there. Disney, people are hating on Disney. That was at a good zone not too long ago. Uber, CVS, PayPal. PayPal's been talked about a lot this year as possibly a good deep value buy. Some others, let's see, Friday. Pepsi, that's a big one. Pepsi and Coke, great stocks to own if you can ever get them at a good value. So we'll get more into the stocks as the week goes on. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, none of it's financial advice, not a financial advisor. I have used my knowledge, experience, certification, and abilities to be an educator and consult to help myself do well in the markets. Again, I look for value when there's fear, and I try to make investing fun and simple. And that's something I want to pass off to you guys. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Now, again, always consult the financial advisor first. I am not one. But if you have extra play money on the side, outside of your Roth IRAs, however you're investing, to play with, I'm just here to show you some nice, simple, easy ways to look at the markets. If something, here's a way to start off. If something is not in a bubble risk, is oversold, indicators are showing buy zones on, heck, let's even start with the monthly. Let's go to something that we can buy like Bitcoin here. Then overall, hey, those can be some of the lowest risk plays you can make. So take from that what you will. That's just a very simple, quick crash course on how you can make things easier for yourself. and not overthink things. Of course, that's for crypto. With stocks, the more research you do, the better. You can look at the balance sheet, how much debt there is or expenses to overall cash holdings and revenue. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed and that you all have a wonderful week. Take care.